Hi everybody, glad you could be with me. Today the topic is really about Donald Trump. Now I thought I'd just raise some comments about generally how I think and feel about Trump. Well, think about him a lot, feel very negatively about him, there's no doubt about that. Donald Trump is a moron. There's no other way of describing it, and why so many people support such an idiot, I will never ever know. I guess at the end of the day, it's about the fact that this man seems to exert a lot of power over the Republican Party. So why do idiots, crazy people, support a crazy man? Well, I guess it's a little bit about the fact that they like what they see because he has delivered what they want to deliver, namely tax cuts for the rich. But I wanted to comment a little bit more about how we here in Australia see him. Well, he's a wanker. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. We fortunately do not have a Donald Trump. We have people who aspire to be like Donald Trump, but we don't necessarily have a person in power likely to get in power who resembles what Trump looks like. And perhaps that partly is due to our political system. So even though they declare themselves to be the greatest and longest democracy in the world, it's a democracy in terms of being a republic. Yes, they probably are. But in terms of a sense of democracy, they're shit. There's no other way of disputing it or talking about it. They are crap. And the reason why they're crap is because they have a range of systems that doesn't allow people to be accountable in the moment for the transgressions which they create. Now in Australia, if someone behaved like Trump had, then normally the party would just simply get rid of him and they'd start afresh. They'd weed out the crap. Not that they've always done that, because there's been Howard and Abbott and a few others who probably should have been weeded out earlier. But nevertheless, if they transgress in ways which actually break the law, in this country, if you break the law, you can't stand for Parliament, and if you're in Parliament, you will get kicked out. It's as simple as that. It's a simple solution to not a very complicated problem. But in the United States, because you have this republic, you have a set of laws that don't allow that, well, what do you expect? Also, the other issue that everything in the United States is politicised. Everything from the local dog catcher who gets voted for, up through to the president and of course governors in each state, and including politicians. So attorney generals and people like that are chosen, or law officials are chosen according to the people. So democracy runs riot in the United States, and it's, in a sense, I guess one could argue that it's over democratized. Therefore, it is over politicized. Now, it doesn't mean that people should be appointed to positions basically by government. Someone has to appoint them, I guess. But the point is that they shouldn't be political positions. It should be about who is best appropriately likely to serve in the position that's available. And we don't have the problems that you have in the United States with regard to our High Court and our Supreme Courts and our District Courts and our Magistrates Courts. We don't. Those people are certainly appointed by their own profession, normally recommended by their profession to the government, and the government then appoints them as magistrates, judges, whatever. So we work a little bit differently, and I just want everybody to know that the way we're working seems to be working. Everything seems to be fine here. I mean, there have been problems, admittedly. I mean, in 1974, we decided to get rid of the Whitlam government because they simply couldn't do what they were tending to do in the United States. We couldn't pass supply, which is the payment to public servants and to other public operations. We couldn't pay them. So a decision had to be made. The person who made that decision was the Governor General, and John Kerr's been hated ever since. But nevertheless, that decision was made once. Now, it's very unlikely that that situation is likely to occur again, but you should never say never. But Donald Trump is a pariah. Donald Trump is basically a narcissistic, psychopathic, egocentric individual who is really only interested in himself. And I don't understand why people can't see that. It's not that Donald Trump ever talks about anything which is about making life better for those people that he's supposed to represent. MAGA does stand for making other lawyers get lawyers, or other attorneys get attorneys. And in Trump's case, at the moment, he seems to have been losing his lawyers left, right and centre. Some of them saying that they're resigning. I heard someone say today that they're not resigning. They're actually being sacked by him because they haven't been able to produce for him the outcomes that he wanted. At the moment, he's suffering the humiliation, again, of being indicted. Second time. First time in New York. Second time is federal indictment, which looks like it's going to take place in Florida. So what does all this mean to Australians? We don't care. It's as simple as that. It's fascinating to watch. It's good entertainment, and it's fantastic. We have a thing called the tall poppy syndrome here, which is terrible. I'm not condoning it, but it does mean that we would like to see those people at the top of the tree kind of be shaved down a little bit. But what we don't like here in Australia are egomaniacs. We hate it. At the moment, we're beating the crap out of Morrison because he is a crazy person as well, but not in the same league as Trump. In fact, Trump is aspiring to become president. Morrison aspired to become everything. And as a result of all of that, he's ridiculed and everybody ridicules him, not just... hold on, I'll put it differently. You don't see any pushback from the Liberal Party necessarily in relation to Morrison, because the evidence is quite clear. Tried to make himself minister for 5 different ministries and didn't tell his colleagues that. I don't think that went down too well with them either. So we are different. But for anybody that's an American who's watching this, you need to know we are laughing at you. We think you're bananas. I haven't looked at Sky News lately to see what they're saying because they're a bit Trumpist in nature, but they are Murdoch Press, so what can one expect? But I do know that at the end of the day, my father used to say that we get the politicians we deserve. Now, I like Americans. I've been to the United States twice, and those Americans I met when I was there were fabulous. My wife and I went to Tallahassee, had a great time, really enjoyed that. Went to New York, wandered through Harlem, in fact. At no point while I was in there, travelled the train to Pelham, and even though we travelled around, just the two of us white people, not knowing where in the hell we were going, at no point did we ever feel threatened. At no point. But maybe that's because we haven't got kids that are in at school. Maybe. But we enjoyed the experience. But I can tell you now, we will never go back. Never. Because it's now appears from afar to be a very scary place. Now, that could mean that we could go to the United States and have the same experiences that we've had before. They're great people. They love Australians. We love talking about Australia, so we seem to get on well. And I found them very generous, articulate people. So I don't have a problem with Americans in general. What I do have a problem with is the way they conduct politics and the way they want to blame other people, particularly the Trumpists, blame other people for their own failings. I think that's terrible. And also, I'm not an idiot. We'll have to think about that. You judge that. But there are aspects of the United States which we, I guess, share. The CIA and ASIO, similar bodies doing the same sort of work. But I'm sure that the CIA are involved in nefarious activities, which I'm sure we will all disagree with if we knew what they were, which probably would bring me to Julian Assange and releasing the poor guy and not charging him in the US and bringing him home to Australia. I know terrible things happen, but what we can only talk about really is what we see and what we experience. And the thing that frustrates me the most about Donald Trump is that we can see he's an idiot. He acts like an idiot. To have got himself into the situation he's now in is based on idiocy at its highest possible level, because he could have given back all these documents at the very beginning, said, this is all I've got. Didn't matter how many they were or what they were. I have them. I'll give them back. we wouldn't be at where we are right now. But this man's now being charged with espionage. So this is about showing documents to somebody else. Whether they're declassified or not doesn't matter. If he's showing documents that threaten the security of the United States, then that's a crime. Doesn't matter who's doing it, it's a crime. He didn't have to do that. But the idiot did. He could have simply given those documents back, said, I shouldn't have taken them, apologised, eaten humble pie, whatever it is that he could have done. It would have been over. Nothing would have happened as a result of all of that. But the man's a clown. There's no other way of describing him. If he had done what he should have done, we wouldn't be here now having a conversation about the stupidity that this man exhibits. We wouldn't. Things would be totally different. But however, we are. We are here for one sole reason, and that is the narcissistic, psychopathic jerk that he is thought that he was above the law and could do whatever he likes. And this is because this man, for decades, has got away with doing whatever he likes and never ever being punished. So, if you believe in karma, this is that moment. He's going to get what he deserves. There are strong suggestions, I think, that the possibility is that even if he gets convicted, he won't be jailed. I would find that a travesty. The man, for what he has done, for the way he behaves generally, needs to be punished. So, and if it was somebody else, wasn't not an ex-president, then they would have been punished, and there's lots of examples of where that's happened for lesser indiscretions than the one we see Trump doing. So if the law's going to be equal, and there will be people who will complain, rightfully so, that if he is not convicted and punished in the way that he should be, as in the way most people would be, then the system is crap. So true. So I just want Americans to know, we love you, we hate your president. It is that simple. We know you're basically good people, though, except for those people that carry guns. You are crazy. Those people that use guns are even crazier. Those people that are in the House of Representatives and Congress generally who support Trump, you're as crazy as he is. To the United States, the impressions they have in the rest of the world are important. They tend to think that the rest of the world admires them. Well, that's bullshit. They don't. We don't. I'm not talking just about myself. I'm talking about most Australians that I meet. We do not admire the United States because of where you are right now. You are no longer the shining light on the hill. You are not. You're not even on a hill. Your light is buried in a cave. It's not seen by anybody except the darkness that you express. And something, at some point, needs to be done about that to change it, because you are more than worthy of something else. You are not worthy of Donald Trump. He is not who you are, but he is who you have become. And I think that needs to be changed. So thanks for being with me, everybody. Please subscribe to my channel and, send me an email if you like. Have a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Take care, look after yourselves, and be safe.